I think it's cool that there's so many rookies on the list this year. I feel like
Yeah.
there's so many up and coming young riders who can really make a splash at Rampage. And it's been a long time since we've had enough space on the invite list for them. This year, there's a few reasons why there's more spots available. Some veterans have decided to not accept the invite and do
Mhm.
the event this year. So there's going to be some people we're bummed not to see. But the good side of that is we get to see guys like you. We get to see guys like Aiden Parrish, Hayden Zablotny, Thomas Lemoyne. And first, I just want to ask you, what was your reaction when you got the email and you realized you were on the invite list for Red Bull Rampage this year?
It was insane. Luckily, I was digging with a close friend of mine Hayden Zablotny, who's also gotten the honor and has been killing it so hard enough to get in. And it was just kind of a mind-blowing, like, collective excitement of, like, I don't think we either knew really what to do, so we both just kind of looked at each other and were like, and then just kind of started jumping around and stuff. But definitely, like, brought the little kid out in us for sure.
Speaking of the little kid in you, I mean, you are only 18, but somehow you've been around doing this stuff for so long already, considering you're only 18. Tell me about like the first time you ever went down to Virgin, Utah, how old you were, and what that experience was like.
Yeah, so I was probably eight or nine when I first came down here, and didn't really like know where we were going. Just like Grom, just kind of going with the fam, and my parents drove us down here with some groups of friends that also were into the mountain bike scene, who are racing World Cups now, and yeah, we rolled up, and it was crazy. I remember seeing the some of the smaller jumps even at the bottom of the hill, like that aren't necessarily big, and not even having a clue of what was ahead and like what was up above, and just having so much fun on some of the smaller stuff, and like just yeah.
Everybody always trips out by how big everything is when you get there to Virgin, Utah, and you ride it for the first time. The scale is so much different than any other spot. And there's not like big trees to really, use as reference points to how big
Hmm.
things are. And when everything around is just bigger than everywhere else, you get used to just seeing big stuff. But that's the interpretation of first impressions at that place from people who are full grown humans. So as an 8-year-old, do you think seeing stuff that big kind of shaped your perspective of size of mountain bike features?
Yeah, for sure. I think the more time you spend down here, especially at a young age, kind of gets you more in tune with it and kind of filters out some of that like overwhelmingness, and um yeah, you kind of get used to it, which is pretty insane to think about, because you when you first see it, you're like, I'll never get used to this. Like, this is insane, and it will always be insane, and it always stays scary. But yeah, it is. It's a great time, and it's like I think it really builds riding, like just like overall riding ability, being able to like not use the trees as reference points, as you were saying, and just kind of it's pretty wide open, and there's a lot of aspects to it that maybe come in like don't see come into play all the time, but are definitely there, like wind and all that. So it gets you in tune with your riding and your environment for sure.
I think when people watch you ride or some of the other riders who represent the new wave of talent, casual mountain bikers will often be like, oh, these guys are loose cannons. It's like a hawk and hope type of thing. And it's only a matter of time before they take a big crash or something. And even people who do pay attention, I feel like it's possible for them to look at you and just be like, oh yeah, he's got like this super laid back vibe. And he's just hucking and hoping. But like hanging out with you more over the last year and watching you practice for events and seeing some of your video projects and stuff, I see somebody who's really calculated, and I see somebody who visualizes things before he goes out and does them. And I see you with a pretty massive success rate on really big stunts, really big features. Where does that come from at 18? I know that you've been out there riding since you were 8, but who were you riding with, and what groups kind of helped you focus on the right things to understand that preparation is the best way to progress? And if you're not preparing, then you're going to have, a lower percentage of success out there on big features and top to bottom lines.
Yeah, for sure. First, I appreciate that. Thank you for seeing that I try to be as calculated as I can. I do think it is such a big part of the sport to not necessarily just push for right now and today's tricks, but to really see the longevity in it and kind of like you're a person, like you're gonna get hurt, like you're gonna have slams, like you got to take care of yourself really well. And hucking and hoping is not one of the things that like I like to do. I think it's a way to ride, and it's an amazing way to ride. And some of the best riders in the world, like everybody gets into that mindset eventually. But one of the things that really helped me was like I was on a team called Outlaw Bike Team when I was super young. Got on that, met the homie Tyson when I was probably like 6 or 7. I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you. This is a long time ago. But just kind of started riding with him all the time. He is a very, very wise man when it comes to teaching and showing the preparation that goes into riding, let alone just the riding. And
is that also the crew that you'd mentioned earlier is out doing World Cups and stuff now? Is that same Outlaw crew?
Yeah. So Tyson Henry, he's the founder of Outlaw. He's been pretty much my older brother to me since I met him when I was 7 or 8 years old. And he leads that crew of now World Cup racers, and they're on the grind, they're killing it. But yeah, he was the one that instilled all of that. He's pretty much the reason that I think my mindset's where I'm at today. But another big thing that he was focusing on was just have fun. Like he was really good at just making us, or not even making us, but letting us have fun while we were training and while we were getting shit done. And yeah.
I think that's like when I look at you, I get curious by how somebody becomes such a mature rider at such a young age. And I was wondering, I was doing a little bit of research. Like I've been aware of you for a long time, then we've gotten to know each other a bit more over the last year. But I was really curious about that Outlaw crew. And so it sounds like having that older mentor and role model is kind of what gave you that perspective. Is that the same crew that used to do, like, I'm going to call it Grompage? It might have a different name, but when you guys would always like go out to the original Rampage site after Rampage and hold your own event, was that same posse?
Yeah, same crew.
That's right. I stumbled on a video this morning as I was just kind of watching stuff, getting ready. And there was one of you on a hardtail, and you look like you were probably like 8, and you were doing like probably the bottom of the original site, but like you look like you were treating it as if you were in Rampage. What was it like doing? Like, do you remember those little Grand Page events and like kind of how you perceived those? What did you picture? Were you like, oh man, I just watched Rampage and now I get to go do it on my own little scale? What was it like for a little kid doing that?
Yeah, I think it wasn't necessarily like us trying to be like Rampage riders, because we knew that we're pushing and we're still young, of course. And I think it was our way of kind of riding with our like a huge group of our closest friends and like pretending like it was, or not even pretending, but just kind of pushing ourselves and having our own little event where we could just have fun and ride and have like little trophies and just kind of a little version of it. But I remember all of them. I remember we would host like even a couple times we'd go there with the team and we'd just host little rampages on our hardtail, and we just have like a start list, and we'd go out there for like 4 days and just like work on it with our little shovels and just like pick a line down it and then ride it on our hardtails. But that was like, yeah, those were super fun days.
That's like what people like kids usually do in the sandbox with a finger bike or something, but you guys were doing it in real life.
Yeah.
So you're probably the first one from that graduating class of Grompage to make it to the invite list. Is that true?
Yeah, I think I am. There's homies getting close, though. I know the other homies are definitely pushing it. They'll get it.
So some of those other riders, they pursued World Cup racing. What are some of the other riders who used to do that who are going down the free ride path now?
Mostly Lion Hildahl.
There you
He's
go.
going down more the. He's definitely on the slope style path. He's killing it in slope style. But I know he's a free rider at heart.
That's
So
cool. I remember we
he's
used to like,
definitely got the style on the big bike.
no, yeah, he's gonna do probably his stint in slope style and kill it there until he wants to just like dedicate to the desert, and then he'll have all the skills. Kind of like you, like you did a
Yeah.
decent stint of slope style and dirt jump competitions, didn't you?
Yeah. I went 4 years.
Tons of Europe
Had the
travel
chance
for
to
that.
do, yeah, so much. So much. It was insane. I went to Europe for the first time when I was, or not the first time by myself for a slope event when I was 16, and ended up staying like 4 months out there and just bouncing around from event to event. And was lucky enough to get the opportunity to get into Red Bull Roof Ride when that was happening. And yeah, and so a couple other silver and gold events, but those were super fun times. And just figure that's
It,
my jam now.
yeah, free ride's your jam, but like sometimes when people only have a free ride background, they don't know how to ride a contest, which is something that
hmm
you can only get experience with if you go ride contests. And there's only one Red Bull Rampage, so it's like you kind of got to go do slope style events to be able to get that event experience. But also with Rampage, there's so much more than just being a rider. It's an insane all in immersive experience. When you are a competitor, you got to be a project manager of a trail build, you have to be a contest rider, you have to be a strategist, you have to be your own trainer, figuring out how much sleep you're getting and monitoring how much you're abusing your body and how much endurance you're going to have left by the time contest day shows up. I think what you did last year, just about a year ago, is probably the last piece of the puzzle that somebody needs to do before they're ready to do Rampage, and that's be on a dig team. You were on Cammy's dig team last year, right? How did that go?
Yeah, correct. I really wanted to dig, and luckily I reached out to Cami at just the right time, and she was super keen. And yeah, it was such a good time.
What kind of stuff do you think you learned being a builder that'll help you being a rider this year? Were there certain times where you guys had committed to a build and realized that you had to then fix it because it wasn't going to work? And if so, is that stuff you're going to be thinking about when you're like sinking your teeth in and making your plan for this year, where you're going to be the one at the top of the course ready to drop in?
Yeah, so luckily last year for the women's it was a fresh venue. So I think that was a super big learning experience for all of us, and I'm honestly super lucky to be able to get that fresh venue. I don't know how many more there will be. So it was I'm super grateful for that learning experience, and being able to pick out a completely fresh line and kind of eyeball it straight from a blank hill was yeah, it was super different, and I had never really done anything like that big, like to that scale. Um, so yeah, and then there was a couple features for sure that we were like, it's kind of just wishy washy. We don't know if it's gonna work. You gotta like think about it for a little longer, and yeah, I think last year I learned a lot from Cami and that team on kind of how to handle that situation and work through it in the smartest way.
You probably learn a bit about how important it is to choose your build team wisely. I'm super curious who you have on your build team this year. Roll out the red carpet and announce it. Who do you got?
Yeah, so I got Aggie, Grand Magazines, and Chaos, Seagrave.
Damn. When I called you earlier just to like make sure we could figure out how to do this like web interview. It's not an interview, it's a conversation. And you said like, "Oh yeah, cool, there's noise canceling. That's great because I got Aggie back there being loud. I got chaos back there." I was like, "All right, Aggie's in his house. Maybe he's one of his build team members. He's either just talking about how chaotic it is back there, or he's got fucking Chaos Seagrave on his build team." That's
Yeah.
sick, dude. So Aggie and
Yeah.
Chaos You have like two insanely accomplished legends on your build team. How did you choose them?
So 10 years ago was my first time at Rampage for the event. And I luckily was camping right next to Graham and Kurt and had a chance to meet them and kind of just like form, like just get to meet the big dogs. It was crazy. It was mind blowing. And Graham has been one of my favorite riders since. And like that whole time, and he's always been one of my favorites, this style. And then yeah, it kind of formed into, I had no idea that I was really going to get in, and he reached out. But yeah, we've had the chance to get closer over the years, traveling to other events, and we formed a good relationship. Likewise with Chaos, I'm super lucky to meet that dude. He's a great dude and a shredder on a bike as well. So
For
it
sure.
was kind of a no brainer, and they were both keen, and I had no idea that they would be down for it. So it was kind of just as mind blowing to me.
Have you already been eyeing up an area that you want to be at for your line?
Kind of, but I'm still very washboardy with that.
For sure.
I don't know really. I think it's scope day tomorrow will be a super good kind of like set in stone day, but I
Yeah,
don't know. It's hard to think about. It's hard to commit to something before getting up there,
I
and
think that's good.
I am not too familiar with that venue. I haven't spent that as much time at that venue as I have um, on some of the other years.
It would be good having Graham though, because he probably knows it like the back of his hand, and he'll be able to, like, you can tell him what you're looking for, and he'll be like, "Oh, if you piece this to this, you can make it
Yeah,
happen." Your year this year is kind of crazy. You got fourth at NA Natural Selection Tour in New Zealand, best moment at Dark Fest, Backwoods Boss at Backwoods Jam. It seems like every event you went to, you came back with either some sort of good result or some sort of title for the jam session ones. How sick is it to be able to cap off this pretty breakthrough season with an appearance at Red Bull Rampage?
it's pretty insane. I've been thinking about it since the beginning of the year and just trying to keep the momentum rolling. And I'm so happy that I've gotten to the position that I'm in, and I never would have expected it at the beginning of the year, honestly.
All right, this is the last question just because I thought of it and I'm curious. When you picture a dream Rampage run for Finley Wayne, what are some of the elements it contains?
Definitely some flat spins. Definitely some extension tricks, maybe a couple, maybe one, just a nice one, a really good one. Um, and a run that looks like I'm having more fun than anybody else on the hill.
That's what worked in New Zealand, dude. That's good. That's the strength of Finley Wayne right there. There's a lot of people who can do a lot of things, but not too many people can make mountain biking look as fun as you do. So do that at Rampage,
Thank
my
you.
man. Thanks again for being here and
I
chatting.
will.
Good luck
Appreciate
tomorrow
it.
at Scout Day.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. It's
Yeah,
gonna be
buddy.